I took my brother in when his wife cheated on him the first time, but after she reappeared in his life and he cut me off to get back with her, he's now begging for help after she cheated again. So about 9 years ago, my brother's wife left him for another man. She was cheating on him for quite some time. My brother was devastated. They had married very young. I was always against it, and I had my brother living in my apartment for months. He had fallen into a severe depression and I was the one who paid for his psychologist since he didn't have any money, and he even lost his job because he couldn't move from the couch or take a bath on his own. I had to give him a bath. I wasn't bothered by that. I did everything for my brother, because I love my brother. She just left and blocked him from everywhere. She simply confessed to him that she had been cheating on him for a year and that she was in love with her new man. 4 years after that, when my brother was finally starting to feel better, she reappeared in everyone's life. The typical thing happened. She and her lover were no longer together. She had begun to receive psychological help and changed completely. She felt regretful, she was really sorry, etc. I told my brother all the time to cut off contact with her for the sake of his mental health, but he didn't. I always had a bad feeling and I could smell the crap from afar. He started to justify her past actions all the time by saying that she changed, saying they were too young, she was having problems, etc. And he got angry when I told him that she is still a bitch. Shortly after that, they got back together and my brother cut off all contact with me because I didn't accept their relationship, and he didn't want anyone to come between them. I simply just told him to fuck off and we cut contact with each other. But now, my brother has reappeared at my house, after years without him wanting to talk to me, only to tell me that his wife cheated on him again, but this time they have children. In the past I would have let him in, hugged him and everything, but he has gone years without even inviting me to meet his children. He has not even spoken to me to congratulate me on my marriage or on my pregnancy. I even invited him to my wedding and he didn't come. I told him that at this moment I can't let him be in my house, which is actually true because I can't have that kind of stress. He told me that we are siblings and he needs me, but I told him that I needed him too, but he was never there and he cut me off for that woman. We had an argument and my husband ended up kicking him out because I was already crying. He's staying with our parents now and my mother just tells me it's not the time to hold a grudge against him and he needs me, but I can't forget how he didn't think twice before cutting off all contact with me for her. Update 5 days later, I have spoken to my mother because she kept trying to persuade me to talk to my brother. She came to see me initially since I cannot move around by myself too well. She basically told me that my brother is very sorry and I told her that he should tell me that himself, but my mother replied that my brother is too embarrassed about his actions. Then I told her that I am not going to let her be any kind of mediator and my brother is old enough to speak for himself. I know he was sending her to insist that I talk back to him. My brother is an adult and can speak for himself. That said, 2 days ago my brother came to my house to talk about everything. He told me something that I always knew, which is that he never got over his ex-wife and he was always totally blind for her. He believed that all of us who were against him coming back to her were toxic and he should cut us out of his life because we were an obstacle that didn't believe people can change, so that's what he did with me, blocked me from his life. He said that he feels ashamed of himself for having been so blind since she cheated on him again. I never told him I told you so, nor am I going to. Busey already knows that. There were many people worried about whether their children were his, but I can assure everyone that they are. They look identical to him and luckily she was maybe faithful at that time. Anyway, after talking he apologized to me and told me that he needs me, but I told him the same thing as that day. That I needed him too and he was never there. I forgive him for everything, but that doesn't mean that I want to go back to everything being like before, because I don't want to put myself in that situation again. He didn't even tell me what he's going to do with his wife and I don't want the situation to repeat itself. I never did anything expecting something in return, but it did hurt me a lot that he turned his back on me without thinking twice and only came back when things got bad for him. I had invited him to my wedding, maybe foolishly believing that he would come, but he didn't even do that. I even kept a seat for him thinking he was maybe coming late, and I feel really dumb for doing that. I told him I'm sorry, but I want things to continue as before since I got used to not having him in my life, and I don't trust that he won't use me as a nurse and therapist anymore. At first he didn't understand it and said that we are siblings and we should be united, but when I told him that he forgot that for years, he finally shut up. So that's it. I simply told him that I prefer to continue without contact with him as before, and I have made it clear to my mother that I want to spend these precious months peacefully. Maybe some will call me cruel and say I should think about my family, but I'm not going to let him treat me like she treated him. Thanks for the nice comments that I did receive though, they mean a lot and assure me that I made the right decision.